So there's twin brothers. They are involved in, we'll say, a science experiment. One of the brothers tends to be more on the optimistic side, while the other one tends to be more of a pessimist. They're brought to this laboratory, and they're told that they get a free pony, but they have to go into a room. So they each go into a separate room as the scientists direct them to, and they shut the door. The door closes behind them, and the boys realize, each in their separate room, that the room is filled with horse manure, and there's a shovel there. Well, scientists open up the door about 10 minutes later, and then there's the pessimistic brother who's just standing there. He's got his arms crossed. He's like, "You assholes, what are you doing to me?" They open up the door where the optimistic brother is, and he's sitting there digging away. Digging. And they say, "Well, what are you doing?" He says, "Well, with all this shit in here, there's got to be a pony somewhere." I tell that story not to illustrate blind, hopeless optimism, but rather to prove a point of being able to take situations that we encounter in our life and that are seemingly bad, seemingly a pain in the ass, and try to be able to turn it around, almost like one might say an alchemist. Now, alchemy, turning lead into gold, you know, it's always, by many it's interpreted in its literal sense, and then I'm sure there were many back in the day who were doing science experiments of trying to turn lead into gold. But I look at that more along the lines from the esoteric standpoint of taking something that's seemingly bad and turning it around and making it good. And this is a tool that I've used for, quite a few years now. And in fact, when my dad spoke at my wedding, he pointed out how I'm one of the only people that he knows that, I'm able to just take situations and turn them around for better, or be even, just be able to make people laugh. And I'm not telling you this to stroke my ego, but rather to point out that I was very, very hopeless in life, and I always looked on the bad side of things, and that is what I got. And it wasn't until I began to make changes in my life that the world around me began to change. Now, one of the things that helped me with that was that I began to focus on others. I was there were people that came into my life, and they taught me that by focusing on others, or as they called it, altruism, I would be able to get out of my own head. Now, initially, it clearly, if you look at it in detail, it's not really altruism, because altruism, for those of you who don't know, means to do something for someone else and not expect anything in return. So I guess if you get on the nitty-gritty with it, if you're doing something for somebody else, despite the fact they may not know you're doing something for them, but you're doing it to get out of your own head, it's not technically altruism. But when you've gone years of your life without thinking about others, it's a good step in the right direction. So, this comes up because it being around the holiday times, we are going to encounter, due to holiday parties, family gatherings, people that we might not be so fond of. Now, rather than looking at these situations as though, oh man, I gotta go hang out with Uncle Bernie Mac and he's just a pain in my ass, look at what can I bring to the situation. Stop looking at what you expect to receive, but rather, what can I bring to the situation? And that will, in time, if done consistently, can change your attitude just very, 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 very much. And I'm speaking based on experience with that. And, I am down to earth, and I do understand the reality of the situation, and that, yes, there are people who are just assholes. But rather than looking at that situation, just just do your best to bring something to the table rather than expecting others to bring something there for you. So, anyways, that is it for today. Subscribe to my videos, send me any questions, comments you may have, and of course, go out and have fun. See you.